Most of us, especially those of us who are planning to live on our Social Security benefits in retirement, are told that we should wait until we're 67 or even better, 70 to retire to maximize the amount of money we'll receive for Social Security. And that's what I had planned to do, work until 70. And that all fell apart a week ago. I'm 64. I live in a little cottage in rural North Carolina. And last week I had a panic attack as I was signing on to my remote-based work. And the next day I went to see my doctor. And then after thinking about it and running some numbers, I decided that I would be retiring at the age of 64. And I want to talk to you about that decision honestly, why I made that decision and the real numbers and fears and the good side and what it's going to cost in the long run to take Social Security early, especially when Social Security is going to provide your income. So, before I go any further, I want to, of course, tell you that I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not an accountant or an attorney or a specialist in Social Security. I'm just a 64-year-old woman who lives alone and is making decisions that are right for me and my circumstances. Okay? All right, so let's get started. I know what my limitations are, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, physically. And that's what went into my decision to retire. What I did is I ran the numbers. I got my journal out and actually wrote down everything, all the money going out in 1 month. Now, my circumstances might be a little bit different than yours. I used to live in Colorado. I sold my house there and I couldn't afford to buy this house in Colorado. This house would have cost twice as much as I paid for it. This house is paid for, so that's a big expense. You know, I don't have to pay rent or I don't have a mortgage. But that meant that I moved to a rural area where I don't know anybody, or I didn't know anybody at the time, so that I could A, downsize, and B, move to a less expensive area. Also, the temperatures here year-round are pretty mild, so my utility bills are pretty moderate. I'm on one of those year-round leveling payment plans, so my electricity here is about $150 a month, and my gas is $200 a month. That's propane. And I have a 10-year-old car, and there's not a whole lot else that I need. I don't have any other debt. Luckily, I live in a place now where people are not concerned with labels or designer things or, you know, dressing to impress. It's very simple. There's no country club for me to join, although I think there is somewhere on the other side of the county or something like that, but I'm not a country club girl. So, realistically, I have eliminated all but my utilities and food expenses. that's going to help a lot for living on Social Security. I still have to pay an HOA annually, and I still, of course, have property taxes. But then again, because I'm living in a rural area and a very less expensive or inexpensive home, relatively speaking, my property taxes are not very high. And so that's another consideration. So what I'm trying to say is one thing that has helped me is downsizing and moving to a less expensive, a place with a lower cost of living has helped a great deal. But it also means that, Social Security will cover my food and my utilities, my living expenses, but that's not going to leave any money for vacations. I'm not going to be going on a cruise. I'm not going to be flying to Europe. I'm not going on any shopping sprees. And that's a consideration. You need to think about your own lifestyle and what's important to you. I wear 2 pairs of earrings, these pearl earrings that my mother bought for me 10 years ago, and a little pair of gold hoop earrings that my mother gave me 20 years ago. And I dress pretty simply. In the summertime, I wear button-down shirts, and in the wintertime, I wear turtlenecks and sweaters that I've knit. And that might be different for you. I go out to dinner maybe once a week, probably not even that, maybe twice a month. And that's fine. For me, that's fine. So you can see I live a very simple life. But what's the most important thing to me is time. I really wanted more time for writing and reading and making this YouTube channel grow. And honestly, this YouTube channel will help to pay the difference between expenses and Social Security. So that's important. But I love living a really simple life. I love keeping a home, baking, cooking, sewing, knitting, although I sew very badly, and gardening. I also garden very badly. But I love doing these simple things. So for me, the greatest commodity, the thing of greatest value for me is time. And when I was working from home, I didn't have enough time. I was always forcing writing time into 1 hour before I went and signed on to work, and baking when I could fit it in on breaks, and taking Fawny for a walk on my lunch 30 minutes. And I was always stressed. So that's the trade-off. That was the trade-off for me. I was trading money, future money, for time now. And for me, time now is worth more than future money. Because I want to tell you a story. My mother worked until she was 79, and the only reason she stopped was because she had a heart attack. She was working overseas, and I was working with her, actually. She was teaching. And when I was sitting here working at my computer, I used to say to myself, I am counting the days until I can retire. How did Mom work until she was 79? But I understand it now. She loved teaching. So for her, getting up and going and teaching every day, teaching children how to read, was not a chore or a job. It was something she loved doing. And I love writing and making these YouTube videos, talking to all of you. So I will be working when I retire. The other day, I was up until 10 o'clock doing some work on my YouTube channel on a Sunday night, and it didn't feel like work to me. So I'll probably be doing my work for the same amount of time I was doing some corporation's work. But this work will be work that I love, creative work, just like my mother did work that she loved. And I think that's a huge difference. So maybe I'm retiring in one sense of the word, but I'm starting a new work that is meaningful to me. And that's why it doesn't feel like work. So the bottom line is, as you know, the longer you work, the more money you'll make or you'll receive when you retire. And that's something that you need to consider. I'm only going to receive 80% of what I would have received if I had worked until 67. And I hope to make up that difference by the income I receive from YouTube. My first month, I received $275, and I thought that was a lot of money until I was watching somebody else's channel, and they had received $750, and I realized I've got a lot of work to do to catch up. But even $275 helps. And the other thing is, through this whole process of deciding, I prayed a lot. And I asked God for wisdom and discernment. And that's what I'm going to continue asking God for every day through this retirement transition. I'm going to be asking God for wisdom. And I'm going to be sharing this process with you. And I thank you so much for being here. This YouTube channel, beside being a source of retirement income for me, has become such a source of joy for me. I really enjoy talking to all of you. And I realize I'm only talking to you through the comments, but talking to you this way, and then also talking to you through the comments. You all are wonderful. So please subscribe, like, do all those kinds of things. But most of all, thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.